Hey guys, so what a great weekend of rugby we had this weekend. I thought we had two classic Southern Hemisphere games in Super Rugby, the semi-finals. Before I go through the scores, I've just got to say that I still believe it was the four best teams that made it to the end rounds. I think regardless of the scores, I think the Brumbies proved themselves throughout this year. They did beat some really big sides, and they deserved their place in the final. But let me go through the quick scores. I was actually going through my Super Brew. I predicted both games, not the scores, but I did predict the games. And I think a lot of people had predicted very, very close to what I predicted with the results of the games. So the first game of the weekend, we had the Jaguares playing the Brumbies. And I predicted that the Jaguares would win this game. I didn't think they'd win it this convincingly, though. I think they won it by 32 points, which is an absolute hiding in anyone's book. 39-7 is a real heavy score. The Brumbies needed to be playing their kind of rugby to and enforce their style of rugby. I just think they were completely outclassed on the day, and it's quite scary that because the Brumbies are a really good side, they're not rubbish, and the Jaguares are just on a completely different level. They were playing two completely different styles of rugby. I think the Brumbies played very traditional and older style rugby, whereas the Jaguares had rushed defence, they're competing at the breakdown. They had so many more moves and ways of combating the Brumbies that, I think the writing was on the wall in that first half, and in the second half, those Jaguares were just throwing salt in the wound. But it was absolutely wonderful to see a full stadium at Super Rugby. And like we watch Northern Hemisphere games, and we think, oh wow, look how full those stadiums are. But some of those stadiums, I was just pulling a tongue at me out the window. Some of those games have 7,000 to 10,000 people in those stadiums, and there in Buenos Aires there are 30,000 people there. And just look how impressive it was actually having a home semi-final there. Some people were commenting on my previous video that the Los Pumas don't even get that many people sometimes to watch the games. But yeah, brilliant for their fourth year in Super Rugby, and they've really made it through to the final. Well deserved. It was a complete thumping. I don't think any side would have been able to beat the Jaguares at home this year. I'm sure some have, but I just think playing at home, playing in front of their home crowd, I think all the teams would have battled to really try to get a victory over there. I think the Lions have got a victory over there this year, and that's very difficult for them too. So absolutely well deserved for the Jaguares to make it through. But I really do have to say that again. I think the Brumbies deserved their place in the semi-final. They played well during the whole year. It's just the style of rugby that they're trying to play. You actually have to enforce the style of rugby that you want to play. You have to make sure that you're getting the driving mauls, which the Jaguares were able to combat. They didn't stick around in the scrums, whereas the Brumbies should have been enforcing that. They should have. I was looking at how the Brumbies were playing, and they seem to be going wide fairly fast. When for the kind of rugby that they play, they shouldn't be moving that fast. The Jaguares can play that unstructured, throwing the ball around, but the Brumbies they don't have. I'm not saying they don't have the skill sets in the background, but they haven't played this whole year that way. So why would they change for that game? So yeah, I just felt there was no plan B for the Brumbies on the day. I think playing against other sides in Super Rugby, the Brumbies proved that they are a good side. But yeah, that Hawaii side is phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. I'm expecting a cracker of a game next week with them travelling to Christchurch. The Jaguares traditionally travel really well, and it's going to be a tough ask. I'm not going to sugarcoat it at all. It's going to be bloody hard to beat the Crusaders at home. No team has done it in 28 or 29 games. So yeah, it's a real tough ask. So yeah, congratulations to the Jaguares for making it to the final. An absolute well-deserved victory on the day, and the right team actually got to the final in the end, in my opinion. Next game of the weekend, I have to say, guys, this was probably one of the games of the season. This Crusaders versus Hurricanes. That was absolutely phenomenal. It was the most beautiful rugby I've seen in a hell of a long time. I was jumping up and down just looking at the skills that were on display there. There was a lot of talk before the game. Actually, sorry, the score was 30-26 to the Crusaders. There was a lot of talk before the game with Bowen Barrett and Richie Mo'unga. They're both first fives for New Zealand, or number 10 or fly half and the rest of the world. And good grief, I think any country in the world would be absolutely happy having one of those players. And then New Zealand have got two. They've actually got two fly halves of world-class caliber. Those two fly halves are spectacular for completely different reasons. I just look at the speed of Bowen Barrett, the chips over the top, and Richie Mo'unga, he's got that youth where he just attempts things, and it just seems to happen. And if we were watching the game and we were just watching one fly half play in the game play like that, we would have gone, wow. And now we had a game where we actually had two fly halves that were just absolutely phenomenal. There were so many matchups on the field, that Cody Taylor going up against Dane Colt, and it's so strange. I really rate Cody Taylor. I think when it comes to being just a pure number two, I think he's one of the best in the world. But I keep on saying it, it's just no Dane Colt, and Dane Colt just brings something so much more to the game than Cody Taylor, and that's saying a lot, because almost any country in the world would be happy, absolutely happy, to have a Cody Taylor playing for them. But it's just, those two are just absolutely phenomenal. I look at number 2, they've got so much depth in New Zealand. If you look at number 9, you've got TJ Pernar and Aaron Smith. TJ Pernar had an absolute cracker of a game. It was bar none probably one of the best games I've watched this year, and it was phenomenal. I think it came down to the end. Nick Mallet was showing that the street smarts of Sam Whitelock by just touching that ball at that last ruck, and it was a knock-on. It should have been a Hurricanes put in, but like he was saying, he says that's a call the ref has to see. The TMO can't come in for that kind of call and say check. It just doesn't work that way. For a knock-on, there's no check from the TMO. The TMO is only for foul play, and it can only be asked for 2 phases before a try. So very, very clever from Sam Whitelock. He knew the ref wasn't looking, and he did it. And even though we can see it on camera, the ref couldn't see it. So it's the way it is. It's playing. It's technically, yes. Well, actually, no, not technically. It is against the laws, but it's the same as Richie McCaw. What the ref doesn't see, the ref doesn't see. So very, very clever from Sam Whitelock. You can see they've been in those big match games before. But I really like Sam Whitelock. But there were just so many matchups on the field. Lamapi, I think it was his last opportunity to knock on that door to say, listen, I deserve to be a centre. But then you got Ryan Crotty on the other side. Oh, flipping hell, that kick that he did across. It's quite interesting. We're looking at, I can't remember which coach was saying it. He says, but it's all about the pictures that you put in front of these players. And as you step up higher when you go into Curry Cup, or I'm saying Curry Cup, Super Rugby, those pictures come to you a lot quicker. And to be able to look up, see the space, kick to that space, knowing that Severis was on the other side, that pickup from Severis was just, it was absolutely phenomenal, that pickup that he did. But what a great game. A really, really, it was, Havili was brilliant. Geordie Barrett was excellent. I just thought it was 15, or what's it, 23 plus 23 is what, 46 players that just threw everything out. They threw everything in the kitchen sink at that. Artie Severe had a brilliant game. So did Kieran Reid had a brilliant game. I think he's playing a lot tighter. He's not playing out so that rangy kind of player that he normally plays. But I can't remember who number 7 is for. Matt Todd. Also, brilliant players. All these open side flankers. They are. It was phenomenal, and I've watched a lot of good games this year. Some Northern Hemisphere games that were absolutely sublime, and watched some Southern Hemisphere games that was it. That was the game that, if you've got it recorded, watch it. At one point, I think it was the Hurricanes. They were in their 22, and they ran the whole way. It could have been the other way around, but they ran the whole way through to the other side. There was a turnover, and then Richie Mo'unga kicked it, and he ran the whole way back to the other side. phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal, end-to-end rugby. It was really, really that good. And if you guys have an opportunity to go watch it, please just go watch it. It's, as a purist, you cannot walk away from that game and say that was a brilliant game of rugby. So yeah, now we're looking at next week's last game of Super Rugby. We've got the Jaguares playing the Crusaders in Christchurch. I think all the money is going to be on the Crusaders to get to win get three tournaments in a row. I think they've been there, they've done it. But yeah, that Jaguares side, they've got some serious firepower in the backs. I think their forwards are going to come under a hell of a lot of pressure. That scrum, or those forwards from the Crusaders, I think there's 7 All Blacks in the starting 8. They're going to find it really difficult. And the Crusaders aren't like other sides. Crusaders they can grind out a victory, they can kick really well, they can play expansive. So they've got so many tools in their arsenal. When things get a little bit too loose for them, they start going up the middle. They start picking drives. They go around the corner really, really well. They've got an excellent drive. They know how to stop the drive. Their defense is really good. I saw there was a few little articles about some injuries maybe with Ryan Crotty. That would be a serious blow. I still rate Ryan Crotty as one of the best number 12s currently playing. A lot of people talking about Sonny Bill Williams and keeper's the number 12 from the Blues. I should know his name. He's absolutely amazing. But whatever, the player I'm talking about. And for me, Ryan Crotty is the best 12 in New Zealand by a long shot. Goodhue, probably the best player outside of him, but I still, Antonetta Brown's also up there. Lamar played it. But yeah, I'm rambling now. So what did you guys think of the games? Do you think the right two teams got to the final? My personal opinion, I think the right two teams did make it to the final. If we were playing a non-conference system, it might have been the Hurricanes travelling to play the Brumbies playing. Brumbies would have played the Crusaders, and the Hurricanes would have played the Jaguares. Both teams in New Zealand. So yeah, it could have been a little bit different, but you can say whatever you want. This is the system we have. You just got to accept it. So yeah, for me, the right two teams made it to the final. Who was your player of the weekend? I'd probably say Richie Mo'unga. I think he was the player for me this weekend. I just think, even though Beauden Barrett is absolutely sublime, I just think Richie Mo'unga is an exceptional 10. And I have a feeling Barrett probably will start. I have a feeling he will start every single game in the World Cup for fitness. And I think at 60 minutes he'll move to fullback, and Richie Mo'unga will come on at 10. And yeah, I think two playmakers playing like that is just sublime. But yeah, for me, game of the week, game of the season so far, this last game, and let's hope the final is just as good. Listen, guys, have an absolutely wonderful rest of your week and enjoy yourself. Cheers. Bye.